There's a lot of steam on Oklahoma this year.
Yeah. Toot coming out of my engine as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I let you talk me into ranking them in our top 10. I love their defense. Everyone loves their defense. My biggest problem is that I want more proof offensively in the passing game. Can they get a little bit more efficient? Can they run the ball at all this year? Would love some proof on that front. Instead, It feels like all we have to go on at this early juncture in mid-August is the shirtless picture of John Mateer that's been floating around. I'm assuming you've seen this.
Of course. From every angle, Ty. He's looking great.
Yeah.
Traps, delts, you name it.
But I dug in after we did part one, took another look at Oklahoma. I think I get it now. I think I'm with you. I think toot, it's coming out of this engine as well. I don't know. You were the OG Oklahoma supporter in 2026. Sure. Why don't you take this one first? Because I got a lot to say. It probably overlaps with what you're going to say as well. I did not see it at first. I looked a little bit closer, and it's like, okay, I kind of understand it now, why there is this hype around Oklahoma and why this could be a much better year than we saw last year, which, by the way, was a playoff year. It was a 10-win year. But there were clearly some issues with that team, and they were masking a lot with their defense. But I have real optimism that we're going to see a jump forward.
I mean, look, all three levels of their defense, there is experience in production. Now, they're replacing a lot up front, which is a little bit worrisome. But I don't know if at this point you're not giving the benefit of the doubt to Brent Venables and his ability to evaluate, develop, and have these guys executing. I don't know what to tell you because they've been recruiting gangbusters. Guys, especially at linebacker and in the secondary, are super experienced. If they can find somebody, what's opposite, Taylor Wine on the edge, because it was R. Mason Thomas. It was unbelievable. He had an unbelievable career in Norman. If they can find that dude and find some depth on the interior, which they've been recruiting very well, and it's, David Stone is back and he should be a force, they're going to silence teams on defense. Like, they made the college football playoff last year without basically anything consistently working on offense. Whether it was throwing the ball downfield, whether it was a running game, like it would appear against South Carolina, then disappear. The offensive line, while they're moving parts around a little bit, or there's, a portal guy or two coming in, I think they should be fine. They've upgraded at receiver, working Parker Livingston into it. They've upgraded at tight end, bringing in Florida's tight end into the fold. They play a lot of heavier sets and didn't really have the tight ends to do it, so hopefully this is an upgrade there. So if you're telling me Oklahoma has had a playoff roster last year without an offense and looks like they upgraded their offense, and it's another year of John Mateer with the same quarterback he'll now have for the coordinator he'll have for the third straight season, and Ben Arbuckle, it's weird to think they'll be static. It's weird to think they're going to take a step back given those realities. Now, schedule is a different animal, and who knows, it's going to be a difficult schedule to navigate, as we know.
The SEC is a gauntlet.
But, I don't know, I like 9-3, 10-2. You get Michigan on the road, so that's a different bit of calculus for their playoff hopes. That's going to be a difficult game, we think. Not impossible. They beat them last year in Norman. But I don't know, man. Oklahoma, should they get Kentucky, Mississippi State, South Carolina's coming to Norman? They finish in a difficult way. I just think basically all of these teams are playing against a team with the more difficult thing to contend with, which is the Sooner defense. Which is, by the way, we've watched a lot of Lincoln Riley Oklahoma teams. Still weird for me to say out loud. Oklahoma defense, man, I don't know how you deal with them.
But, it's kind of been the same question. It's been reversed, but when Lincoln was there, it was, well, if the defense could just marginally improve, how much better would this team be? It's almost like the opposite is true under Venables. Certainly now with last year in the rearview mirror, knowing what they've got coming back on defense, everyone is crazy about the defense. But if we can get a marginal improvement on the offensive side of the ball, think how much better they'll be.
Look, Mike Stoops is nowhere near this program.
No.
He can't hurt Oklahoma fans anymore.
No.
So at least there's that. Yeah, I understand what you're saying, though.
A crazy stat that I saw from our friend Brett over at Pick Six Previews. Oklahoma forced a negative play, a sack or a tackle for loss on 15% of the defensive snaps a year ago.
Yeah.
That sounds like a lot. That is a lot. This is very much a playmaking defense. You could talk as much as you want about depth concerns, and maybe there are some, especially in the front four. This is a pretty damn good set of ones out here. And, provided there aren't any catastrophic injuries, they're going to torment teams. They're going to be so good on defense. It is all about offense, though. Last year's offense was better than the one before it, which isn't necessarily saying much, but there was actually some improvement. John Mateer was not the same player after he hurt his thumb and needed surgery and then sort of rushed back.
Right.
Just wasn't. Was that because of the teams they were playing? Was that because he was still banged up and couldn't grip the ball? I don't know. But clearly that played some factor in the course that things went for Oklahoma last year. And the running game was just not there. It just was not there. The fact that there was no running game to speak of meant that it was mostly on Mateer, and if he wasn't feeling it, then that's why it didn't work.
Yeah.
So this year, I think the reason for optimism is that line from a year ago was very young, took its lumps. Now, Brent Venables, to hear him say it, he says he's got 9 offensive linemen that he could win with, Dan, going into camp. If the line hits, hopefully that opens up something for more of a rushing attack from either Torrey Blaylock or Xavier Robinson, whoever it ends up being. I've kind of seen conflicting reports on who RB1 is, but it's probably going to be a little bit of both if you can get a little bit more balance. And again, these guys do not need to be Jeremiah Love and Jadarian Price. Like, just a little bit more balance, a little bit better than they were a year ago. You combine that with Mateer, who I think is healthy now. Obviously, he's been buffing up a little bit in the offseason, with a really interesting trio of wide receivers, namely Isaiah Satania, who he had a great connection with for a bunch of big plays a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
Like, am I seeing this right, that their over-under is 7.5?
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough schedule, as we pointed out.
7.5?
Well, here's the other worry. Here's the other worry in terms of wins, losses. They need to have the ability to approach 30 points more often, or else you get into, like, the must-champ zone. Where, like, you're having to win games in very specific ways. Like, it was great that they went on the road against Tennessee. They scored, like, 33. 10 of those points were, like, a scoop and score, and I want to say, like, a turnover or something, like a short field goal. Like, it wasn't really an offensive drive to speak of.
Yeah.
Scoring 17 points in wins. The weird win against Bama, where, like, they had a 6% win expectancy after that game. Where you're just like, can you count on getting to 9 or 10 wins if you need 3 of those a year? Because some of those games are going to be 17, 16 losses if you're playing, what is Spencer's big thing? Like the big, ugly must-champ ball?
Yeah.
Like, I got that wrong. But you know what I'm saying. Like,
right.
It's not necessarily a formula that'll get you to 9 or 10 wins every year, because you're not going to win every 50-50 ugly game.
But it's going to get them to 8 to hit that over. That's my point.
I think so.
7.5 for this team with this defense? Granted, the number 3 hardest schedule per projections. They do have Michigan. They have Georgia. They have Texas. All of those teams, by the way, before October the 10th. And then they've got a closing run of games where they're at Florida, home against Ole Miss, home against A&M, and at Mizzou in 4 straight weeks. Also, of note here, and we talked about this a couple times. I went back. There have been several references over the last couple months. Nice little Lobo sandwich in week 3, yeah?
Oh, yeah, buddy.
This might be sandwich game of the year potential here.
Look, they're much better than New Mexico. We can agree.
Yes.
Georgia, Michigan, is that the sandwich?
Georgia, no, it's Michigan week 2. It's Georgia week 4, and then sandwiched in between, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. They're the bread. Georgia and Michigan are the bread in the New Mexico sandwich.
Right in between, you've got New Mexico at home. New Mexico's a good team.
It's terrifying, man. It's legitimately terrifying. I think Brent Venables will be ready. It doesn't seem like a kind of program that would lose. Even New Mexico is a conference contender in their own right. But, man, that's precarious.
I'm on the over. They're not losing 5 games.
I don't think so either.
and I think it's probably closer to 9 or 10.